Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Salesforce Ben LinkedIn Live. So my name is Zaina Dar, and I'm the events content producer at Salesforce Ben, and I'm really excited to be your host for today's event, Business Process Automation with Salesforce Flow. So while we wait for everyone to join, let us know where you're logging in from today. We always love to see what a global audience we have attending. So let's kick things off by addressing a common challenge faced by many organizations, low adoption of IT projects. So despite meticulous planning and flawless execution by project teams, adoption rates often fall short of expectations. So the answer lies in the need for more business process automation, and there's a solution to this challenge. It's in Salesforce Flow. So business process automation using Salesforce Flow can streamline workflows, reduce manual effort, and pave the way for excellent user adoption. So I'm thrilled to introduce to you Srini, who is here with us today to share his expertise and insights on how to leverage Salesforce Flows for effective business process automation. Srini, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure, Jana. Thank you. Thank you for having me on this live session. Again, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Srini Munagavalasa. I have over like 20 plus years of IT experience, of which 16 years is mostly in Salesforce, Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, and other, CRM related applications, right? In addition, I'm an author of like two books. I wrote two books. One is the Business Process Analyst. The other one is the Business Process Automation using Flows. So that is the one we are going to discuss today.
Fab,
Right?
thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, so just before we get started, just a few house rules. So as this is a webinar, all lines will be muted, but don't worry, we'll be having a Q&A at the end for you to ask Srini any burning questions you may have. So feel free to submit the questions in the comments throughout the webinar. The webinar will also be recorded and will be available on our Salesforce Ben LinkedIn and YouTube channel, just in case you need to drop off or would like to share it with your colleagues. Great. Well, I'll hand it over to you, Srini, to take us through the presentation, and I'll see you at the end for the Q&A.
Yep. Sure. Thank you, Jana. Again, good morning and good afternoon. And thank you all for joining the call today. So today I'm going to discuss the importance of the business process automation. So more than the flows, I want to emphasize why business process, having a business process is important, then what things we need to automate. And again, we'll look at an example where, we see that the flows, how we build a flow on that one. Okay. So I'm going to go through the slides, make it a full screen. Okay. The first and foremost important thing is, right, anything, whether you automate or you don't automate, when you get a requirement from your business, right, you need to understand it, right? You may have a use case, you may have a BRD document, but still, if you have a visual form of it, it will help everybody understand the flow, right? How the requirement from end to end, right? Initially, we need to have some kind of conceptual flow where you can take a pen and a paper or you can whiteboard it basically, right? From that, during each stage of the project, during solution design, right? During each phase, right? Even during elicitation, during solution design, you refine that and create, understand the current and future states of the business processes, right? Here again, these business processes should be like system agnostic, right? Then we are going to decide on, right, based on the flows, we are going to decide on, okay, what steps make sense to automate. This you're going to do with your stakeholders via workshops or conference room pilots. And then for each one of them, the stakeholder team should agree the rationale behind that. When you do a automation, right, yes, you can do pretty much anything automation, but is it really adding business value, right? If the team thinks that it doesn't add much value or it only benefits small set of people, you need to think through, right? Is it really worth doing that, or it's better to add some other functionality, right, rather than automate? And then again, you need to prioritize, right? When you have a project, when you have a big roadmap, you're doing some implementation, you may have multiple releases, right? So the priority always is to enable the functionality for the users. Then the automation comes next, right? But again, automation is important. I'm not saying that downplaying that, but functionality is more important, right? The right functionality, then the right way automating in the right time, right, will help in adoption. Again, we do it in a phased manner to add real value. And then again, this business process flow, whatever requirements you have, in conjunction with the requirement, the process flows need to be agreed. The steps need to be, prioritized and agreed upon by all the stakeholders. Okay, so this is the first part. The next one is, what are the tools we have? Automation, it's not just flows only, you have other features too. We'll get to that in a little bit. But here, since the topic is related to flows, right? So here, flows, it's a declarative tool, it's a fantastic tool. Again, they say no code, but I would say, sales admins can do that, but admin role is getting, like much broader now, right? You cannot just do admin stuff. You need to know a little bit of coding, you need to little bit of testing, right? If you have all this, it will help us a lot. So what I recommend is, right, if you know a little bit of coding, Apex coding, that will really help you understand the flows. And then the second one is order of execution, right? Probably most of you know this one. If you're a developer, of course, you know that, right? Because you do the Apex coding, the classes, methods, and all, you need to know this one. But again, for flows, this is even more important now, right? When it's executed, what's the order, right? You may have like Salesforce had a way how things are executed, right? Like how the lead routing rules or the case escalations, before save, after save triggers and all. So understanding order of execution for flows will be really important. Again, flow types, we have 5, all of you know probably, because right now this is the only way to, workflow automate in Salesforce, right? High level screen flows, record trigger, schedule, platform event, and auto launch. With flows, another great feature is, right, in the past, we don't have this with workflows. You can do the Apex sharing. You can use Apex sharing. In the past, only the developers are able to use that using Apex coding. But now you can share records via flows with clicks, right? Declaratively, basically, you can add sharing, you can remove sharing via flows too. This is another great feature. And again, it's an easy to use feature, right? It got a debugger window where you can optimize and troubleshoot the flows. You can run tests repeatedly, you can debug it repeatedly, right? You don't need to go to debug logs and do that, or go to Apex debugger through Visual Studio and do all that. This debugger window is right available on the screen, right, on the flow builder, and you'll be able to use it very easily, right? Another great feature is, right, you can identify faults. Sometimes your users get some weird messages, some 404, 504, 510, nobody understands. Even the business analyst, we cannot understand, right? But with flows, when you do the fine tuning, troubleshooting, optimizing, you capture the errors and you can convert them into a friendly, user friendly error messages, right? So this is the second part. These are the tools. And finally, the orchestration. I don't know how many of you had seen, probably most of you already went through this one. Again, this is a wonderful tool, right? Again, orchestration is nothing but it uses flows only, right? In top of the flows, where you can package this, right? It basically amplifies the impact of the flows. You can have a end-to-end complex business process built into this one. Again, when I show when I describe a scenario, I'm going to show through flow orchestration only, right? Within flow orchestration, right, again, it uses flows, right? Each flow, there are stages, steps, and flows. Basically, you can modularize a big module into orchestration, where you run it by stage. There is a decision element, right? At any point only one stage can run, and within one stage you have multiple steps, right? It can be interactive or it can be back end steps, and then each step is associated to individual flow. Okay, in addition to that, there are go-to elements, work guides, right? Work guide is in nothing but where you can see that if some task is assigned to somebody, right, they can see the work guide on their screen. The system sends an email, a link, and when they click on the link, it opens up the page. And of course, the admin need to configure that. They need to add it through the Lightning Web Component onto the page. Okay, and then orchestration run, and orchestration work items. You can monitor the orchestration. Say some orchestration is there, right? You have interactive session and some, like backend sessions are there. Say approval process, there are multi-approval processes there. If it is waiting on approval by somebody and it's there for a long time, you can go to the orchestration, run through the app launcher, and you'll be able to monitor it and where it is and all. And you can also debug it from there, right? See, if something happened, you can verify that. And work items also same thing, you can access through app launcher. If a work item is assigned to a specific person for approval or doing something on the work item, and if this person is not available on leave, something happened, right? You can reassign it to somebody. Okay, so these are the features we have. So with that, what I want to do is I want to explain you a scenario. This is a real world scenario. I simplified it a lot, but what I want to do is I want to just explain you the use case, right? This is the use case, BRD item, whatever you call it, a high level. Again, I simplified it heavily, and then show you how I created a process flow, and then how we transformed that into a future state process flow, and then how we implemented that using flow orchestration. Okay, so this scenario, partner registration, I don't know like how many of you know about the partner registration. Partners are nothing but they are the, if I'm a company, say for example, let's take an example, Apple sends multiple products, right? They have laptops, they have computers, iPads, they sell keyboards, iPhones, everything, right? So they can send directly to corporations. They can do it to individuals too, but in this case, we're taking B2B, right? Business to business. So Apple sells to corporations directly, they have it. And in addition to that, right, Apple will sell their products, some of the products through different vendors too. Say, for example, wireless vendors like Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile. They sell Apple iPhones, right, AirPods. So they are the partners for Apple. They sell their product, of course, in collaboration with the Apple team, the account team. But again, there it's indirect selling. Same thing, Apple computers and other peripheral computer related equipment, maybe Best Buy or some other company may be selling that to, some retailer will be selling that to, right? So these are the partners. So when this partner, say in this case, if Verizon wants to, right, Verizon may already be there, they may be existing partner. Say we have a new company coming up, they're a wireless provider, they want to sell Apple products, and then now they request registration, right? That's what we are talking here. The use case is a company request registration to the company to sell their product, right? To do that, to collaboratively sell it, you need to give them access to your system, right? You need to have access to the accounts. You need to create a user ID for them, and then you need to give them access to your leads, opportunities. Again, if they're premium partner, if they're big partners, probably the MDF, deal registration. These are all partner specific, high level application, the next level, right? So for that one, they need to request a registration. So the partner asks for registration. The goal is, the functionality here is, we need to create an account for the partner, add the contact, and convert the contact into a partner user, right? So that they get access to your system and they collaboratively work with your team, the internal account team and with the partner team to sell the products. Okay. So this is a conceptual flow before going anywhere, right? In some cases, if it's a simple request, right, this is a little bit complex one. Probably you don't even need to draw. You may directly do it in the system, right? But take for an example, there is a little bit, complicated requirement that you have. It's always better to just put it on a paper, right? This diagram, right, the requirement need to be understood not by just the business stakeholder, the person who is asking, and just you who is doing, right? It need to be understood by everybody, the testing team, your solution architects, right? Even the training team members, even the end users, right? So if you draw a conceptual flow, right, you don't need to be fancy. You can use, there are multiple tools. I sometimes use pen and paper. You can just go to the whiteboard and draw it there during the workshops or conference room pilots, right? So the basic requirement is, if you see here, the partner request registration, and the channel team receives the registration request, right? This is here. So I put in each of the requests, right? The channel team reviews that, and the sales operations creates account and contact record. And then sales operations, since they cannot create a user record, they request, the IAM team to create that one. And then finally, the partner is activated and notified. So you capture that as steps in here, right? So I use Visio and capture that, whatever way you want. Again, this is a conceptual flow so that you get a right understanding, right, from the stakeholder, whoever is requesting that, and the SMEs, right? At this point, you don't need to have a big team to understand everything because this may be the first or second cut you are doing. Once you understand the requirement, in conjunction with the requirement, you understand that you can take some notes, right? How do they want to do that? Right? Do they want to do it manually or do they want to automate it? What's their priority? Right? Again, review. If there is some review step, who is going to review? Do you really want to review? It can be manual too. I'm not saying you need to automate everything, but at least capturing certain things will help you during the next phase of designing, right? And again, while we are discussing, one of the users told me that, oh, the adoption is really bad because we are doing everything manually and too many touch points are there, and a lot of things are lost in communication. And I took as a notes here saying that the adoption is really poor. It's only 20 to 55%. So this is one of the priorities. I want to improve the adoption. So then it makes a very good use case for automating stuff, right? Again, when do you do, don't worry about that. What system you use, don't worry about that, right? Just capture it from end to end so that you understand, first of all, then all your team members agree to this one. Team means all the stakeholders on the project. Once we have that, right, you have, again, right, as like any other projects, you have planning phase, you have a lot of sessions, you talk to the business, sometimes there are trade-offs, right? And then finally, eventually, after maybe like a couple of iterations, right, you come to this, I would say more or less a final stage. This is the future state that we're looking at. So we took that all 7 items from the conceptual flow. I named as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So these are the steps we want to do. This is the things we want to pretty much automate, right? I put in more like, more than functional thing, what we want to automate. But again, do you really want to automate all the 1 through 7 in one go, right? It again depends on the resources, right? Again, it's always the important thing is the functionality is important, then comes automation. Okay, so you can decide, right, based on, once you have it. I have the players here to what the partner user does. They're going to submit the web form, right, with all the details, with the account, their company details, the account, what products they're interested in, and all. Once they submit it, it basically is going to send a notification with the ID so that in future, if they want to refer back to the registration, they can always refer back. And the web form got a lot of information. Their company information, their contact information, the product information, and all, right? Once we have that, somebody is going to review this one. Let me zoom it a little bit. I cannot zoom it. Okay, so then they're going to verify, and then the channel team, right, request the sales operations, right? Again, here we didn't capture that. There is a step, approval step. It's not a direct approval, but they collaborate with the account manager, make sure that the account manager is okay doing indirect sales too, right? Then it goes to the sales operations, and they're going to make sure that the partner account is properly created, a contact is created. They send it to a different team, the IAM team, Identity Access Management team. They're going to provision the users and send a communication, right? If there is any issue, then again, an email goes back, it goes to the channel team, right? So we have the personas here too, right? So this is called a swim lane diagram. Again, I usually use visuals. So we have the conceptual flow from conceptual to this one. Yes, of course, it takes a couple of iterations. But once you have this one, right, if tomorrow a new business team member comes or a new end user comes, if you share this with them, they can clearly understand the partner registration process, how it flows through, who does what, and what are the steps, right? So once we have this one, right, everybody agreed. Of course, everyone need to agree that. And another good thing with this one is, right, if a step, right, when you walk this through all the stakeholders, right, including your testing team members, your training team members, so that way it will help when they train, right? If somebody feels that certain fields are redundant or useless, not needed, this is the time, right? You can remove those things. Or some people can say they have some pain points, right? You can take care of them, right? You can, focus your resources on that. And sometimes you may find some opportunities to improve this one. So you can find gaps, you can find opportunities. Again, it's a good document that, visually people can, digest it. Okay. So once we have agreed document, right, then basically, right, of course, you need to create, I implemented this as part of a record trigger orchestration, right? As I told you, orchestration again uses steps, right? The first step is basically when an account is created. So what happens is the partner user through company portal or digital experience, digital cloud, they're going to submit the form, and then it creates an account and creates a custom objects where it places all their data, their account, company data, account data, contact data, right? The products they're interested and why they're interested, whatever format you have, they capture that. So this one goes to step one, right? It says that capture partner info. So the channel team can open this one and basically review this and make sure that, okay, everything ties through that, everything is fine, right? They agree to that. And they're going to fill in certain attributes if needed on the account object, right? And then it is not here, but again, there is another process, another functionality going on where they need to do due diligence, right? They need to do the KYC, that to do the legal need to approve, compliance, regulatory, if other things are there, they take care. They talk to the account owner and get the approval and add certain attributes, right? Based on certain attributes, here this decision element, even though it says account owner approval, it's not really approval, right? I named it this way. It's basically based on the attributes on the account object or any other object behind the scenes. It's going to determine whether this person can progress to the next level or we should cancel it. If we cancel it, of course, I ended it, but you send a notification saying that why you cancel to the customer, the partner, right? But in here, the reason why we have this is, right, say for example, Apple is there. We have another small company. They want to do business with Apple. They are a virus provider. They want to sell Apple products. Yeah, they can submit all that. Everything is fine. The channel team can add some attributes. Based on the attributes, the account owner, the manage the relationship. No matter whether they sell Apple cells or it's sold through, T-Mobile or Verizon or any company, Best Buy, that person manages the relationship. If something happens, right, he's going to lose the sales. The company is going to lose the sales. So this person need to agree, right? Yeah, this person is okay, partnering through Verizon, Best Buy, and others. But I have a small company. I want to sell the products. This person may say, okay, certain based on the attributes I captured here, I do not want to do business with this person. So they can it, right? And if this person agrees based on the attributes they agreed, it goes to the next level, right? So the next level is creating a partner account and contact. So what they're going to do is, again, this is automatically created. They don't need to, earlier they used to manually, but now through Flows, we are creating a partner account. So you create account, the account is created, you convert into a partner account. Then they create a contact. It's automatically created because you have the data from the web form. And that contact is converted to partner contact, right? Partner management behaves a little bit different way, right? You need to have a contact to create a partner user, right? And again, there is an interaction step. The reason why we have interaction step is, right, what kind of entitlements are you going to give this partner, right? If this partner is a premium partner, then do you want to give him MDF, marketing development funds? Do you want to give deal registration capability, right? All those things they're going to talk with the channel manager. At this time, the channel manager is the link with the partner, manager. They talk to them, they manage the partner relationship. Okay. And then once it's agreed, okay, marketing development fund is basically you're giving some funds to do common marketing efforts and all, right? So they're going to put all these things in this interactive step, and then it goes to creating partner user. It goes to the IAM team, right? In case if it's a small company, maybe the admin can create, right? In big companies, due to segregation of duties, it goes to the another team. where they're going to create it, and again they're going to notify the account owner and notify the partner user. Right. Again, I highly simplified it, but again, if you use single sign-on, right, if you give some accreditation, you link it to your LMS, because these partners need to be trained. Again, if they're case management, right, if you know there are complaints on cases, the partner also should know, right, the product complaints and all. Again, that's again, we have like multiple functionalities enabled, but this is a simple functionality that I want to just cover in here. Okay, so we took the conceptual flow. We have a business requirement or a use case. We convert it into a conceptual flow. It's a simple diagram. You can draw it with pen and paper, and then from there we created in a couple of iterations the future stated flow. Right, what is future today? Right, will become a current state tomorrow for the next release. Right, it's a living document. You keep updating it. Right, and then we automated it based on like using process orchestration, Salesforce orchestration. Right, again, end note, what I want to just emphasize here is, right, one, you should start drawing process flows. Right, even if you have anything like a little bit complex too, right, get used to that. Put it on a pen and a paper. Just draw that way you understand and rest of the team understands. Even in future, if you had to refer back and then you need to explain, you have a document, a visual document. Right, again, these business process flows need to be kept current. Right, and you need to be make updates each release. If you are touching anything related to that functionality, you need to update it, keep it current, relevant, and effective. Okay. uh, Flows, probably everybody's using that. That's the only way you do the workflow automation. Right, so yeah, learning epics coding will help you a lot, because a lot of the concepts, once you get deeper into the flows, understanding how things work behind the scenes will really add a lot of value. It will add a lot of clarity to you. Okay, again, automation don't always flow siloed. Right, just because a tool is there, don't start just using it. Sometimes you can do in a simpler ways too. Right, yeah, through page layout, lightning web components. Right, and then you have even record types. You can write validation rules, and then you can do via other third party apps too. So think through based on the complexity, and if you can do it a better way, just do it. Right, and again, right, don't automate something if it benefits only one or two people. Right, if it really need to add value. Okay, and then flows and flow orchestration are getting started. I think this is the only way in Salesforce you can do the workflow automations. Right, so it's a very powerful tool. Again, it's changing so rapidly. Right, what I say today may be irrelevant tomorrow. So this is like our process flows. Right, we need to keep relevant. Right, if you follow the Salesforce release cycle, and you have lot of resources on flows, lot of great people, like fantastic trainings are there. Even Trailhead is absolutely phenomenal. Right, you have like so much in there. You can learn a lot. Right, so again, flows are the future, and I'm pretty sure all of you are going to use it. And if you are admin, just focus on learning some level of coding also. That'll help you a lot. And again, for everyone, right, process flows. You have a requirement, you need to have a process flow. Right, I'm not talking about Salesforce flows, a flow. Right, even with a just draw it with a pen and paper, that will really save you a lot at the end. Okay, with that, this session concludes, and thank you all for joining this call. I hope you got something out of this one, and I'll let Jaina, just facilitate the Q&A session, and we can,
Great.
then.
Well, thank you so much for that really interesting presentation, Srini. Hopefully, everyone attending now feels much better equipped to sort of harness the power of Salesforce flows for their own business processes. So without further ado, it's now time for our Q&A. So if you have any questions for Srini, please feel free to submit them in the comments below, and we'll try to get around to as many as possible. Okay, so let's see. Let's just remove that. Okay. how DevOps friendly are flows and flow orchestrations?
Uh, this is a good question. Honestly, I don't have an answer, right? I don't want to say something. And probably what I'll do is let me do some research or talk to my friends, and I'm going to post that answer on this, the YouTube. I'll post a response later in 1 or 2 days.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I hear people say flow is the future for Salesforce automation. So do we need only flows to automate, or do we have other ways to automate business processes?
Yeah, not exactly though. I mean, flows, yes, that's the only what you have it. That's the latest one you have it. But again, it's not always flows though. If you have certain complex automations that need to be performed, sometimes you need to take the help of a technical team, the developer. Maybe the Apex triggers may be a better way, right? Certain things you can automate using Lightning Web Components too, right? Some automations like dependent pick list kind of thing you can do via that one too, right? There are other ways to, right? Before you jump into the flows, think through, right? And find 1 or 2 ways and find the best way to do that. But majority maybe, flows, but you have other ways also to accomplish this one.
Okay, great. So what tools did you use to document business processes? What's your recommendation?
The tools usually what I use is I use Visio most of the time. Again, you have Lucid Chart, you have like a lot of other tools. Even you can use a pen and a paper to do this, right? So it's not what tool you use, but that whether you do it or not. So just start doing it. I use Visio. Sometimes I used to use Lucid Charts, but again it depends on a company, right? Whatever they pick, they may have a standard, so just go with that one.
Okay, nice. So how does one make sure that the implemented solution aligns with business requirements? What steps did you take to ensure this?
That one, what you need to do is, right, anytime you have a requirement, right, the basically it follows a process, right? It's a business analysis. I'm not saying a business analyst will do just business analysis. It's done by, the admin. Anybody who's implementing something for the business need to do the analysis, right? So if you have a project, you need to make sure, again, as I told, right, you need to have a concept, you need to understand the requirement, right? Once you illustrate the requirement, right, probably after multiple meetings you are able to understand it from the business user, but there's no guarantee that others will understand the same way you understood it, right? So you translate that into visual diagram, right? Once you have a visual diagram, right, again, to enable this phase from conceptual flow, requirement conceptual flow to the future state flow, right, you need to meet with the right stakeholders via the workshops or conference room pilots, and together in those meetings, right, of course you have a lot of debates, agreements, disagreements, and all these things, right? You need to go through that, and at the end of the day everybody need to agree to the process that yes, this is the requirement I gave and this is the process I want to be followed, right? If you can do that, yeah, certainly that's going to reduce a lot of pain at the end.
Okay, fab. Would you migrate old workflows to flows?
I yeah, you we have to, right? I don't think you can going forward you can create workflows now. Again, as it is within Salesforce, they give a migrate. You can migrate it, and what it does is each workflow it creates a flow, but that's not the right approach. Though, if you don't have resources, maybe you can do that, right? The reason being is, right. Say for example, you have 10 workflows on an opportunity record, right? Now, if you convert automatically what Salesforce provided, it may create 10 flows for you, and that's not the right way. Then the order of execution will be off, and and unintended scenarios may happen on the back end, right? So what you need to do is you need to analyze, create one single flow, right? Or you can create if you have like 50 workflows on opportunity object, you create multiple. You can have a flow subflow, right? You can call a flow from a flow to, right? If you can consolidate the whole thing, right, and fine tune it, that way you can, right, reduce it and have one single flow or one or two flows, that'll help you. But again, if you don't have time, if you had to do that, yeah, certainly you can do. But at some point, yeah, you had to consolidate that for them to behave the right way. Okay.
Okay, nice. Um, so could you briefly explain when to use Flow Orchestrator?
Yep, sure. So flows, right? If you have any small thing, right, a business user asks you, okay, when somebody creates, when an account is converted from stage A to stage B, like say you started with a regular account, a prospect to customer, it changed, right? Then you need to send a notification to the KYC team to do the KYC stuff, that kind of thing. Small things, yeah, you can use flows. Even a little bit complex things too, right? When something is created, you want to create some related objects, or you want to have a roll-up summary, you can use flows, right? Independently, they can be debugged. That's fine. But if you have a complex logic kind of thing, where, say, for example, a person does something, then it goes to a manager for approval, then it goes to another person to add certain things in there, right? So now here you can create interactive steps, some backend steps, right? Sending emails, updating fields, you can do via backend flows. But some interactive steps creates a work item, notifies the person to do something on their screen, and the work item will be placed on the screen, right? The admin will place that on the page layout wherever they want. So the person who is assigned the task can complete it, then it goes to the next person. So basically, you can streamline the whole process, a complex process you can streamline and you can monitor that. So when you have a complex functionality to implement, which touches many people, then you go with the orchestration. If not, yeah, just go with the flows.
Okay, go with the flow. So how do you find balance between business requirements and technical feasibility? Moreover, how do you approach this balance while keeping end users' needs in focus?
Yeah, that's a good question. This is a very difficult thing to do, though, in any project, right? So the business asks for certain things, right? Again, right, what I do is I have a conceptual flow, and before I come to the final flow, it's not that I'm going to do as a business analyst, the admin, talk to the users, right? I'm going to pull in the solution architect, right? And I'm going to pull the technical architect. We have the SMEs in there, right? Technical lead, even the testing lead is there, right? So when we assess, yeah, conceptual flow, it doesn't tell you anything about technology, but when you come to the end stage, when we say that, okay, these are the things we want to automate, this is the functionality we're going to add, we have the solution architect, technical architect, and the technical lead too, including the business analyst. That's where we debate, we keep fight, we do trade-offs and all, and they say that no, this piece looks simple, but it's really complex to implement, right? Do you really want it? If you want this one, then you need to trade off this, right? Now this is the priority, then you're going to bucket it, you're going to put that, okay, this, it takes this much effort, right? And if something is a priority, maybe they need to prioritize that, or if they want this one, they need to let go that ABC, right? So it's again a balance. It's not an easy one, and again, that's where the workshops or the conference room pilots with the right stakeholders come into play. And again, you have these visual flows, you have the right team members, right? You have the prioritized list. Then that's where we are going to see that sometimes certain things may not be technically feasible at all. Then yes, you cannot do it in Salesforce, but it doesn't mean you cannot use it using third party tools, right? Then you go explore it, find out from the third party, talk to your architect, and see if there's any other tool that can be done, right? Again, it's a balance. The resources are limited, business wants a lot, right? Again, that's where we need to strike a balance. That's where you have the project managers and again the business analysts, right? And we take the support of the solution architect and the architects, and just strike a balance to deliver maximum benefit to the business.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Fantastic. Can there be multiple flows with dependency with each other?
Yes, you can do that. I mean, you can write. I think within flows, you can sequence them. Though, if you go to the flow builder, I think from there, I don't exactly remember, but yeah, you can create flows later on. If you sequence them, you say that fire this, then this, then this. You can sequence it. It's available there. Yeah.
Okay, nice. So can organizations identify which business processes are suitable candidates for automation using Salesforce Flows?
Um, which business process flows are, yeah, again, as I told you, right, as we discussed before, right, what is valid in Salesforce, again, you need to look through though, because again, you don't want automated things. Sometimes some things may be really really complex, right? The business needs it, but it is done only by one or two team members in the team, right? Something like, some incentive payment need to be done for, salespeople, and it's done by two, three people in the back end. But the way they do it is very, very complex. It's not easy to grasp, and then they want to automate that kind of thing, right? Again, it's the example that I'm saying, right? If it's done by very few people, let them do it, man. You don't need to automate 100%. You can give them some tools to little bit ease their job, but if it's done to three people, it's better to do it manually rather than automating it. So that kind of business processes where it doesn't impact more people, doesn't really add value to multiple people, then maybe you need to put it on the back burner.
Yeah. Okay. Can you share any real-world examples of successful implementations of business process automation using Salesforce Flows?
I think, lot of organizations. I talked to a lot of people on LinkedIn too. There's a lot of discussion going on. I mean, we don't have an option though, right? Because workflows are, they removed it. No more. You cannot use workflows anymore. Anything you do, you had to use flows only, right? And flows, I mean, Salesforce, oh my God, they ramped up so much, so much. Even the recent spring release, I see they added a lot of new stuff in there, right? So I think that's the only automation tool we have. So we had to use it. I think if you're using Salesforce.
Okay. Is there a reason to use flow orchestration versus sequencing multiple flows?
Yep, it's a good question. Very good, right? Sequencing is, right. Say for example, you have an opportunity object. You have created, say, flows in the last 2 years. Some 40, 50 flows are created. Multiple projects are going on. Different teams created it, and everybody is busy. Nobody, really look to optimize it. But now you have time. You want to optimize it. You sit with the team and sequence it, right? You give an order 1 to 10, right? Which one need to fire before, after, and all these things. It's good, right? Orchestration is not like that. It's not just sequencing. What orchestration does is, right? See, I'm there. If Jana is there, she is submitting something and she wants approval. She wants me to do something on that, right? And then she creates a work item for me. The system notifies me. I go into the system. I go to the specific page layout. Through the link I can go. I don't need to really navigate. And then I can add my, whatever I need to do, I'll do that. Then you need to go to another team. Say it need to go to a backend team where they approve an invoice, then it goes to that team, they can do that stuff. So basically what we are doing is multi people doing a task, multiple tasks, we are packaging it and managing it, right? You can manage it end to end process. That's where you use it. It's not sequencing, it's more like managing the whole process, business process. Okay.
Mhm. Okay. Nice. So what are some key factors organizations should consider when designing and optimizing their Salesforce flow?
Optimizing key considerations. Okay. The first thing is, right, as I told before, I think somebody asked a question, right? Just don't create, for each requirement, don't create a new flow, right? So whenever you create flows, right, try. I mean, people recommend, if you look at, a lot of white papers are there. People say that create one flow per object, right? That way you have better control. But again, that I don't think that is feasible for complex implementation. It's pretty difficult though. You may need to have subflows, you may have multiple flows. That way you can stack the flows, right? You can rank them and say that which one need to fire before or which one need to fire after, right? So that's the approach I would take, right? Yeah, try to do, if it's a small company, go one flow per object. If not, try to restrict and keep them to minimum so that you have more control.
Okay, thank you. So how does Salesforce Flows integrate with other Salesforce features and third-party applications?
Salesforce flows. See, within Salesforce, right? It's native to Salesforce. So whatever you are able to do with earlier workflows or process builder, you can do pretty much everything in here and more. Okay, even with flows now, you can delete records. You can do a lot of stuff. You can schedule them, right? You do a lot of stuff in there, right? And again, integrating from outside parties, right? Platform event triggers, that kind of thing you can integrate now with flows. You can do that platform events, and MuleSoft is there. With MuleSoft, you can integrate with other applications too. With taking the help of MuleSoft, you can do that one, right? And again, a lot of third-party apps are coming too, right? Again, flows are relatively new, right? It's they're adding a lot of new features, and again, we're going to see a lot of stuff in there where flows can integrate with other third-party applications too.
Okay, fab. What is the limitations of using Salesforce Flow?
Limitations, like any objects, right? There may be certain considerations that you need to take. I don't remember on top of my head what the considerations are, but pretty much, you can do pretty much anything with, like flows, though. It won't stop you. The only thing is, right, some limitations, like you cannot, like, within a loop, you cannot update certain things, right? You need to package and loop. It again hits the governor limits, right? Certain things, yes, you need to consider, like even apex coding, right? There are some considerations, but pretty much, you can pretty much, other than the other limitations or the considerations that Salesforce provide you, I think it can do way more than what you have in the past workflows and process builders.
Okay, cool. So what are some best practices for maintaining and updating Salesforce Flows to adapt to changing business needs and technological advancements?
The best practices, right? One is, every you have the maintenance release, go through the release, right? Even Salesforce, Ben, I think they're the first people who publish that one. Each release,
We
they go
tried.
through, and a lot of fantastic people there who put in examples. They give demos too. It's not just putting something in there, right? Just listen to that, just subscribe to this, Ben and other Salesforce Ben and others, and just follow through. And if you think it adds value to you, maybe just revisit it and replace it. Sometimes, what you custom built there may be already provided by Salesforce to the release, right? So if you keep current with the releases and update your system, right? Not just learning, doing it, right? And again, at the same time, update your process flows too, because when you're doing something in available out of the box, right? Then you just update everything. Then that way, you can be on par with what's happening in flows.
Okay, cool. So what's the best approach? 2 flows per object before and after, or a lot of simpler and smaller flows with entry criteria?
I think it's 2 flows per object is a better option, right? Rather than creating too many. But again, as I told you, right, if yours is a very large corporation, like say Coca-Cola or something like that, they have so many users, right? So then maybe, you create multiple flows, but again, you can call a flow within a flow, another flow, right? Or you create the flows and then you can sequence it, which one to fire when, kind of thing, right? Again, the minimum number is good. Yeah, before save one, after save one, that's a very good idea, right? If you take a mid-sized company, that's really good. But again, keep it to minimum, right? Don't create too many. If it's a big company, if you have 150 flows, nobody knows what's happening with the flows. It's very difficult to manage. Okay.
Cool. Okay. Can flows replace Apex triggers?
Nope. It can never replace certain features through Apex. Yeah, you can call that anonymously, right? You can do certain things, but Apex is too powerful, right? You need developers. And anytime when you have a very, very complex integration, I think, at least my feeling, I don't know others, right? If it's a big companies, you have a lot of development team, technical team, let them do it. They may do it way, way better than what you can do with clicks, no code, right? That's why I'm emphasizing even admins learning, technical stuff is very useful. Yes, it can never. I don't think it can replace, that.
Okay. So can you provide insights into the potential ROI organizations can expect to achieve from implementing business process automation with Salesforce Flows?
Oh, it depends. Oh, yes, you get a lot of benefit, right? The thing is, once lot of in any implementation, it's not just CRM, Salesforce, anything, right? If you look at that, a lot of tasks can be automated in the back end, right? By doing that, the good thing is, right, one, you keep the data clean, right? Data is that's the most important thing, right? And sometimes people had to update the data at 10 different places, right? By automating, you're reducing that. One is, right, if I update it 10 places, if I'm tired, right, I'm a fat finger it, and I can mess up the data, right? Then everything is out of sync. So by doing this, automating this, one is, right, you are saving time, right? You can schedule certain things too. You don't need to do now, right? When the resources are available nighttime, you can schedule it. It can run on its own, then generate an email, success error report kind of thing, right? One is you save time, the quality data is fantastic. And with the AI coming into picture, data is even more important, right? You need very clean, nice data, right? So ROI is like, yeah, if you don't have any automation from zero, of course, I don't believe that, right? Any company will have a lot of automation already, right? Any workflows, right? Email triggers, anything you do, it's automation only, right? You have it. But yeah, the ROI is, I don't think I can really quantify though. I mean, it's kind of, it's almost like, if you look at that, I would say like 60 to 70% of, things what we work on, we try to automate.
Okay, thank you. Can Flow Orchestrator replace approval processes?
No, though it doesn't really. Approval process is different, right? Say, for example, you have a court approval process and all. Within that, you can use approval process within flows too, right? You don't. It doesn't need to replace. But this is more like it creates a work item. Work item is right. When I did a demo on the orchestration, I said that account manager approval, decision step. It is not approval really. It's what it does. It takes some attributes, calculates, right? It's like getting our rating, right? When I apply for a credit card, based on my rating they give so much money, right? Kind of, and so much money I can use it on the credit card, right? It calculates based on that, right? So this one, it creates a work item. Somebody had to do something, say they need to give some rating or they need to put some comments kind of thing, right? So approval process is still there. You can use approval process via flows, but it doesn't. These both are totally different though. Okay.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, those appear to be all the questions we've got, and we're coming up to the hour. So, thank you so much to everyone for attending. We hope you feel empowered to implement business process automation with Salesforce Flow in your organizations. Feel free to connect with Srini on LinkedIn if you have any further questions. I'd like to give a massive thank you to you, Srini, for sharing your expertise and insights with us today. Before we round up, any final words?
Yeah. Thank you, Jana. Thank you for giving this opportunity. And thank you, everyone, for taking time from your busy schedule and attending this session. I hope you got something out of this session. Thank you.
Brilliant. Well, thank you again to everyone for attending, and we hope to see you again for our next webinar soon. Take care.
Thank you.